We're good to go. Welcome. Sorry for the late show. It's really busy. We get when you got other things. But you know, I do this for fun. I do TikTok. I do social media. My background is in media. As you all know, I went to school for media. And it's something that I just have liked since I was young. By the way, my media story starts way back in Garissa, in Kenya. And I remember, I think I was 11 years old. 11 years old. God, forgive me but one thing I do remember. So my love with media started around my age 11, 12. And this is how it's all started. So there was a wedding in Garissa town. And it's one of the family weddings. And someone came with like a big, long camera. And so that person just didn't give it to me. Anyway, I ended up just I don't know how I ended up, but I ended up having that camera with me in my hands. And so there is a mosque down in Garissa town, the main mosque. And by the way, my father, may Allah open Jannah for him, paradise for him, was one of the pioneers of really, remodeling and building up that mosque. I'm talking about the mosque by Madrasatul Najah, right, in the town. And so there was a wedding there. There was a nikah there. And so first time I took hold of that camera and I shot the nikah. And surprisingly, I did very well. And so when the person who owned the camera saw the footage, he was like really surprised, about what I did with the camera and how I really, and it was the first time, and actually, it's a Somali thing. We are know it all. We know stuff before we even go to school or anything for it. We just know it all. We never say we don't know. We always say we know, and we make mistakes. Anyway, I didn't make mistakes. The video, the footage, the footage came out very, very well. Excellent footage. And so with that footage, then there was Meher, and then there was a night wedding. And so I was asked again to go ahead and shoot the night wedding. The guy literally who had the camera took the whole wedding off. I was just running around with that camera. I was doing it very well. And so everybody noticed that I had this camera with me all the time. And it was the time also in Kenya, there was a famous photographer, a famous, well-known photographer in Kenya. His name was Mo Amin. I don't know if some of you know or have heard of him. Mo Amin, an award-winning videographer, photographer, very well known. Unfortunately, or tragically, he lost his life on an Ethiopian airline crash that fell in Seychelles, around Seychelles, I think, and passed away. And so that Mo Amin, everybody started calling me Mo Amin because I was really good at this photography thing and the videography thing, and so they called me Mo Amin. So I got the nickname. And my love with journalism, that's where it all began. And ever since, I've just liked being a journalist. And I've gone to school for journalism. I have an undergrad in mass communication from St. Cloud State University. And I learned a lot of these things. People are usually surprised, but how to present. And my emphasis was radio. So if you combine radio and camera, you get a very good content. And so that's where my love of media started. So anyway, that's why we're here. I'm opening up this story for you guys because I wanted to share that. So I want to do this every day, but I can't. I got kids to raise. I got work to do, business, and So, but I would love to be behind this camera all the time, be on this mic, talk to you guys, and share my stories, many, many stories. And that is where we are. Hi, Dumashi. Hi to you. Hi to you. So that's my love for journalism. That's where it began, and that's why I am here. I had opportunities to really, after I graduated from Second State University with mass communication, emphasis on radio and television. I had a lot of opportunities to even go to Columbia University, but I got married then, and so with marriage comes a lot of responsibility. I should have gone to do my master's there in Columbia University, but we make plans. Allah has plans for us. Whatever we do, I just take it as that maybe Allah had other plans for me, and I wasn't able to. And I really got scared to go to New York after I read about where I was gonna leave and how I was gonna. I just got scared. I developed cold feet, so I didn't want to continue my studies in journalism at Columbia. The other place that I got accepted was Arizona State University Walter Cronkite School of Mass Communication. That was another option. I wasn't afraid of Arizona, but I got my firstborn. And so I ended up doing my master's at Augsburg University here in Minneapolis in leadership, MLA, and that's where we are. So I wanted to share that story because I just feel like I just should really share it, and it's important that I share it because I have something behind that story that I wanted to share with you. So that's why I'm saying media is something that is ingrained in me. Whatever else I do, business, and successfully I do other stuff, I always come back here. And in America, in America, we have what would they call man cave, especially for fathers, right? We have a man cave, and here in the basement of my house is my man cave. This is my space that I get away from the wife and the kids. I just want to be myself. I just like to do what I love doing. Some people like playing video games. Some people like playing music downstairs. Some people like to do other stuff. Some people invite their friends downstairs in their basements and they just have fun and, and do stuff together. But for me, I just want to be here and just create content, either editing videos or just doing this, just talking about how do I improve other people's life? How do I talk to people and make them better? How do I inspire others to be better, And every person I meet or I connect with, I'm always inspiring. I'm always telling them something positive. Or if they share with me, I'm always telling them the sky is the limit. And so that is what man cave is. So this space here is my man cave. It's down the basement of my house, and the kids are sleeping. And so I come here sometimes and I just want to just let out the steam, let out the steam. And I've got my FPV drone set up in the basement with a couch next to take maps. See, that's what I'm saying. Everybody has something, everybody put your name on. I don't like calling people, quoting people with the user 666. Sounds like you're in prison. But use your name on your TikTok, man. So, or use some name, some identity, something fun you like. Maybe you can say something like FPV drone or something. Anyway, user 660386, whatever number. I got my FPV drone set up in the basement with a couch next to it to take naps. So a lot of the dads, I got my gym here too. I got my treadmill. I got my little treadmill set up here. And then I got my weight bench. So I'm always trying to get rid of my dad's butt. After 5 kids and, you get to a certain age, man, you really work hard, but those things don't just go away like when we were younger. So it takes a while. So, but that just want to share that what I am having here downstairs and what I use for downstairs. So that is the story. But anyway, coming back to what I really want to talk about. Now that I have your attention, scarily enough, Now that I have your attention, I want to talk about something that has interested me the last few days. You know, I follow news back home. I'm in Minnesota, I'm in USA, but I do follow the news back home because I have family back home. So I gotta pay attention to what's happening in Kenya, and I gotta pay attention to what happens in Somalia. I gotta pay attention to what happens in Ethiopia, because all these places, all these countries, I have families there. I have roots there. So I gotta pay attention to it. So I've been paying attention to Kenya. I pay attention more to Kenya, to be honest, and then Somalia, and then Ethiopia. Agreed. Agreed. Yes, you should have a name. 100%. You should have a name. And so, for me, lately I've been watching the news in Kenya, and I've been hearing about attacks on Kenyan Somalis, and I've spoken about it a few times here on my TikTok. I've even shared some history about Kenyan Somalis, and you can look it up. If you go to my TikTok, you can check some of the videos that I posted about the history of that Kenyan Somalis in Kenya. But the last 2 days, the current president of Kenya, William Ruto, has visited the regions that I come from. That is, I like to say the regions that I come from. I don't say specifically I come from Garissa. I come from Garissa, but I like to say I come from that region. I don't like to be more specific on one place. I like to say I am a representation of Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera, because I have interacted. Even Isiolo, I have interacted more with those. When I'm talking about interaction, I'm talking about faith, I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about language. And growing up, this is a community. People know each other. People know each other. Halimo, thank you for joining. Once in a while, I'm just pivoting on this side just to check on comments, if there's any comments, anybody, if someone is saying something, share it. But these are the regions that I love and I care about, and I have roots in, and I pay attention to what happens there. So President William Ruto has visited that region, and he has decided to do away with some system of verification of individuals or people or communities. I'm talking about the Kenyan ID, which we call kipande, or whenever you are in Kenya, a lot of Somali brothers who have come through Kenya, they know kitambulisho more than anything else. And so that identification system. And so President William Ruto lifted that restrictions and said, everybody gets to have an ID from that region without verification, without going through any process. You're gonna get your ID, you're gonna get your passport. There was a passport office in Garissa. It was closed down by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Now William Ruto has opened that passport center. So now people can access IDs and passport without an issue. It's been a challenge, it's been an issue, it's been something that we have dealt as a community for a long time. And it's been just a tool of discrimination, to be honest with you. It's never been about, it's been about control. And I tell you one thing for sure. I tell you, all of you one thing for sure. The moment President William Ruto said that I'm lifting these restrictions and issue on the process of Somali Kenyans and the people from coastal regions and Muslim community not having to go through all this process of vetting, which is a very, very hard process to go through, to be honest with you. So much requirement just to get an ID. And you were born there. And so you have that. And then some people started talking about what President William Ruto said about, or lifting that restriction. Some are making the conclusion he is lifting the restriction because he wants to steal the election in 2027. And that's not the only thing that I'm hearing from talking heads on social media. But one thing I really fail to understand, and I hope you guys can make me understand, is why are I feel like people who are fighting to make Kenya better, let's say for the Gen Z, people who are fighting a good fight, I think they're getting drowned out by people who have a specific hate toward communities from Garissa, Wajir, Mandera, Isiolo, this northern region and the coastal region. And it is very unfortunate because they cannot separate what the Gen Z are doing, going out, protesting, fighting for Gen Z to make Kenya better. That is what they say. I don't say that. They say that. I support that. We need to have that conversation. We need to make the country better. We need to govern it better. We need to fight corruption. We need to have opportunity for our youth. There is a huge youth unemployment. The issue of abduction, that should stop. It's illegal. It should not be happening. 100%. I support that. And that should be the conversation. How do we make it better? But the abduction is not just now. It has been happening since 1963, so it's not something new. This is not a new conversation we're going to have, but that's a topic for another day. We can talk about it some other time. We are getting US back to its roots. Make America great again. Anyway, that is another topic. We're going to have that conversation. But I'm talking about now this specific issue of kipande, ID. And where did this kipande and ID come from? Let me tell you where it came from. It is a colonial legacy. It is a British legacy. 1915, the British introduced it to control the Africans, and mostly East African. Kenya wasn't really defined then. There was no a territory that was defined as Kenyan then. As a Kenyan, as a country, no. So when the British came, they used that system to control people. Then, in 1950s, there was an uprising against the British colonial government. And so the British government went harder. Wanted to control, specifically the Kikuyu community who are doing the uprising or fighting against the colonial governments. So they introduced what they called passbook. And by the way, the ones before 1950, those were inhumane way of identification because those were chains. Literally, Africans in 1915 had chains on their neck, like a box. And in the box, they had all their information. That was the first process of controlling Africans. And then in 1950 came, they used the passbook. And the passbook had, because of the Mau Mau uprising, they wanted to control the Mau Mau, the Kikuyu community, specific control, like you're going to here and you're going here and you're coming back. And so they introduced what they call passbook. After that, there was fights, things happened, Kenya became independence. Now, you will think the community, our Kikuyu brothers and sisters, our neighbors, our people that we share space here in Kenya, in many parts of Kenya, by the way. It's not only central, but many parts. Some of them are in Lamu. That's topic for another day. Rift Valley, that's topic for another day. Garissa, everywhere. That's topic for another day. That's a different topic, so I don't want to jump into that. Let's continue talking about the kipande. Now, the kipande system, here we go. You will think when Kenya became independence, the first government of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta will do away with the kipande system or the ID system or the kitambulisho because the legacy of that system is there. You can't really run away from that. So you will think when Kenya became independent, that's the first thing you're going to do is get rid of the IDs. Get rid of this system of identifying and trying to control people, right? Because that's what happened to the Kikuyu community and many Africans before that, and many Africans in Kenya too. Everybody had a kipande, had a passbook. So you will think, oh, now we got independence, we're free from the colonial chains, we're gonna, oh, kumbaya, we're gonna go on, hey, we have to do this. Nah, bam. Who are the next victim of this system? Kenyan Somalis, coastal community, and the Muslim community became the new Kikuyus in a Kikuyu government then, led by Jomo Kenyatta. And so we also upraised people in northern Kenya, had an uprising. They fought, little skirmishes here and there, little fights. They were branded as bandits. There was a little bit of a shifter war. There was back and forth. The Somali government then wanted to support their brothers in Garissa, Wajir, Mandera, and Isiolo and all these regions. They provided weapons. Some of the community members went out and wanted to fight. Some stayed. They didn't want to fight. So something happened. There was an Arusha declaration that happened, a meeting between the Somali government and Kenyan government and Ethiopian government. And the Somali government decided they no longer wanted to support this uprising and rebellion, so they pulled away. And so the communities in Kenya, the Kenyan communities in Kenya decided, hey, this fight cannot go on any longer. Since we don't have we don't have support from Somali government, we might as well call it a day. So the war stopped, the shifter war stopped and everything. But the vetting and the ID and the colonial legacy continued. And it's been going on. People in this region have been disadvantaged since Kenya became independence. When it comes to jobs, when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to opportunity. So the success of the Kenyan community, the success of the Kenyan Somalis, you see now, it's hard work. Nobody gave them a handout. They worked hard to get where they are today in Kenya. And of course, they also have had a lot of children. 4 wives, 3 wives, many kids. My dad, may Allah rest his soul in peace, Jannah, had many wives. We're 22 in my family alone. So you can imagine. Somalis, that's what they do. Kenyans, they just get kids. They have kids, 5 on average, while like other Kenyans have 2. And so this community, came to big cities, worked very hard, opened all kind of businesses, successful. And they worked hard. They got themselves where they are right now by working very hard and being successful at what they do. And that is they're successful in doing businesses. And that's where we are. And now they're visible. Their success can be seen. Their businesses can be seen. And so, like the Indians before the Somalis, people tend to get jealous. People tend to feel, but why will you blame the Kenyan Somalis though for their own hard work? And why would you want to hate on them? And why will you want to put bandit on them? Why will you want to have them to have verification? If you are against the colonial legacy of ID and kipande, why will you want to have Somali community or Muslim community or the coastal community to continue on having this process of identification? If you're not happy about the British and you upraised against the British government and to abolish passbook and kipandes and all that, why will you want to have the same oppression on a community that is Kenyan? Why? I just wanted to ask that question. And that's you. You have to ask that question. And I don't know if President William Ruto wants to steal an election in 2027. I don't know. I have no evidence of that. I don't know. Maybe he wants to. I don't know. But you have to remember too, the easiest regions to steal elections from in Kenya are these regions, northeastern, Garissa, Wajir, Mandera, Isiolo, even in eastern. Historically, it's easy because they're not accessible. Even when it comes to during voting, those regions are not, the voting system is not, they're not accessible to either system of voting or even materially. When there's election, it's rainy season. There's a lot of challenges in getting ballots to many of these arid regions because they're not accessible through roads because there's no roads. So you have people flying with planes, literally bringing in ballot boxes and stuffing them and sending them back. This has been like that historically since 1963. So this is not something new that William Ruto is just suddenly going to do it. It was done before William Ruto. It was done before Uhuru Kenyatta Jr. It was done before that by Moi. It was done before that by Kibaki. It was done. It's been done. It's nothing new. Stealing election in Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera is the easiest thing you can do. Uhuru Kenyatta has stolen twice from Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. His father, Moi, all these people have been stealing elections. Just nothing new. It's nothing new. People tend to forget so soon that what we're talking about is not something new. It's something that has been ongoing. And unless we all come together and really focus on making changes in Kenya, we collectively fight for a fair election. We collectively fight against corruption. We collectively fight for opportunity for our Gen Z and our youth. We collectively fight for human rights and justice and stop the extrajudicial killing collectively. I'm not talking about only one community doing this. And please separate the two. Separate what you're fighting for, which is justified, separate it from the Kenyan Somali community. Kenya has been led by many people, but mostly by two communities, the Kikuyu and the Kalenjin. And from evidence since independence, you can clearly see these two communities produced presidents, and they have been failures. Maybe the focus should be who's going to be the Kenyan next president. That is not a Kikuyu or not a Kalenjin. That is the fact. You can dispute it, you can fight it. You have shown by evidence, by action, that you have had two communities leading Kenya, and whoever they have fronted to be presidents have failed this country. And that is the reality. So what's next? So let's not bundle everything. Let's be clear and be focused on how we collectively, all of us, want to change Kenya for the better. Because if we don't, that is a topic for another day, which is interesting, and it's going to be about the Gen Z. Because if you don't do right by the Gen Z, you're just postponing a more dangerous situation for the whole country. Because you have 60 to 70% of our youth who are unemployed. That anger, the protest the other day that you were seeing, that's nothing. That anger is going to go somewhere. It's going to go somewhere. And unless we come together and say, let's deal with this issue once and for all, then we can build up a country that represents all of us. And by the way, do away with this kipande system and ID system. This is just my opinion. I have two options. Someone asked, how can it be changed aggressively? I have two options, and you might not like them. One of them is idea has been floated around like China. Anybody that commits corruption, I don't want to say the word, but check how China deals with corruption cases. The other option is we just need to disband the whole country and just restart all over. Just restart the whole system, restart the whole country. Like literally just change, like blow it up, blow the whole country up and let's start over. I don't mean in a bad way, but I mean like just it's an American of saying that just if you want to just start from the ground, like new constitution, new system of governance, everything. Just do away with what you have right now. That's the aggressive approach, I feel. But there can be other approaches to that. We are electing people who are not qualified to be in leadership position. We're not. We're not electing patriots, people who care. Here in America, I've lived here for 20, 25, 26 years now. These people, white people, they love their country. That's why they pay taxes. That's why they build roads. That's why they've taken care of the infrastructure. Of course, they're quite stronger, and it's America. It's started a long time ago. We're new. We're only 55-year-old country. We're not, people go through this. And eventually either it's a civil war or you elect qualified people who care about the country and move in the right direction. That is the non-aggressive way. That is the non-aggressive way. So there are options to improve and make the country better. BGA 9292, did I answer your questions? I hope I did. Guys, we have a lot of challenges. And I had mentioned to you guys that the Gen Z issue, if it's not addressed, we're going to be in trouble. Yes, Uhuru tenure was very disappointing. I thought him coming from a rich family. Everybody thought so. But see, the problem we have there now in Kenya is the problem we have now didn't start now. The problem William Ruto issue didn't start now. Uhuru Kenyatta issue didn't start now. When the only fair election that ever happened in Kenya was the election of Mwai Kibaki, the first election of Mwai Kibaki, when Moi was removed from power. From that election up to now, there has never been a fair election. You can dispute and debate that. Anytime I can tell you right now, there was never a fair election. Okay, anyway. A lot of people elected Uhuru and William Ruto on the fact that they both were going to court at The Hague. So Kenyans thought it's patriotic. Let's not have our sons go to The Hague, let them not go through that system. And so they came together, they formed the government, Jubilee, and they came back to power. That is one of the problems where we are today. Because you guys made that mistake. So how long are you going to continue making that mistake? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope you do. So Uhuru and President William Ruto, I addressed him respectfully. You elected them. They came together under Jubilee and you elected them. Euphoria, patriots. Kenyans cannot go to The Hague because we are a country. We're independent. Our sons cannot go to The Hague. That's the problem. Shida niyo bwana. That's the problem. That's the problem, my friends. That's not the only one. The numerous land clashes that have been happening in Kenya. We threw them every time there is a report. We just ignore it. You constitute a commission. The commission report comes out. People get away with everything. How many commissions have been successive presidents have commission. Nothing comes out of it. No one is held responsible. That's where we are today. I can give you 10 reasons why we're here where we are today. And that from the past, since independence up to today. So when is this going to stop? When are we going to do the right thing? And you don't elect the people who want to do the right thing. You don't want to elect them. That's the problem. You have great minds, great people that want to do the right thing. You always want to elect the worst. Or the number. You go by the number. Tyranny of numbers. It's not tyranny of ideas on how to make Kenya great. It's tyranny of numbers, saying it like a Somali. The territorial integrity. Anyway, T and P is something usually we have a challenge with. But instead of a tyranny of ideas, it's tyranny of clan and tribe. That is the campaign platform of Uhuru Kenyatta. That was his campaign platform. We have the number. It's not about how do we find jobs for our youth? How do we find healthcare for our families? How do we improve our infrastructure? How do we improve the economy? How do we find resources? How do we expand on ideas of businesses for our communities and everyone? No, it is, I have the tribal number. That is what it is. Kenyan conversation is tribal number. Who has the tribal number? The math is not adding if you don't have XYZ tribe on your side. That's where we are today. That is one of the legacies of where we are today. So what were you guys thinking? What are you guys thinking? You. What? Thank you for asking that question. Who are your top 3 picks you think will rule as should if they had a chance? Anybody, first of all, associated with Moi or Kenyatta is non-starter. They shouldn't be even thinking about, you shouldn't even give them a chance. Anybody that is connected to Uhuru Kenyatta or William Ruto, even however it is, we should have a non-Kalenjin, a non-Kikuyu president. And that there are great people that can do that. That are very talented, both in Kenya and internationally. You have to give me time. Let me do what I do and put in more time on a research on who I think can be president. I need more time to think about that. But our Kikuyu neighbors, our Kalenjin brothers and sisters have led Kenya, and the Kikuyus have led Kenya, and it's not been good. just by the just by the body of evidence that we have and we see, it's not been good. So we need somebody else. We need, and it has to be. We can get a youth, but youth is, you need a balance. You need somebody who's between the age. I'll give you an age. You need somebody who's about the age of Barack Obama. Then I'm not saying someone like Barack Obama. I used to be a fan of Barack Obama, but not anymore. Or I still I am like 60-50 now. 60-40, sorry, with Barack Obama. But you need about somebody with the age of that age that can relate to the youth. You need somebody that is an economist. If they have a law degree, even better. And someone that can communicate their ideas. That is what you need. And somebody that has had experience outside of Kenya, that has worked outside of Kenya. I think that's what you need. So I've given you the age, and I've given you a little bit of the qualifications on who I think can be president in Kenya. Thank you for that question, Mr. BGA. I really appreciate that. Sounds like Jimmy, you said. You mean Jimmy Wanjigi? The only thing with Jimmy Wanjigi is that he's a Kikuyu, so I say that Kikuyu or a Kalenjin is a non-starter. I think that those two communities should just sit back and let other people lead. And this is out of just respect, not to disrespect anyone. It's not that he's not. He can be a vice president. He can be a vice president. Hey guys, by the way, you can hear me very well. The audio is coming out nicely, correct? It's not cutting off or anything like that. Am I right? BGA, the only one who's communicating with me. Audio is good. Asante sana BGA. Appreciate that. By the way, follow BGA 92923. 92923. BGA. Guys, you should follow. That guy has good questions. Hey, I'm going to have you. Are you in Kenya, BGA? If you are, I might have you on my show sometime, man. I might just invite you and you can ask me those questions. It'll be great. Sai saa ngapi Kenya? Ni asubuhi sio? Watu wameamuka. For some reason now, I always believe people are, okay, the hustlers are up right now and running and working. Lakini watu wa majioni, you have to talk to them when it's 2 p.m. here, China. So, and watu wa majioni, unajua ni watu wa, mostly ni watu wa kuveve na nini na hizo, but I think I'm talking to the morning crowd. I hope I'm talking to the morning crowd. Those are the crowds that I want to be able to talk to. There's nothing wrong with the evening crowd, by the way. Just that's not my intention. So we are facing a lot of challenges. Remember, guys, I had mentioned to you guys about and that's a conversation. If you're youth, Gen Z, I hope you can join me tomorrow about this time. Remember that we've talked about Gen Z. If we don't do something about Gen Z, who are about 70% of Kenya, are unemployed and don't have hope. And I've interacted with a lot of these young G's, by the way. I have. Some of them do some stuff, opportunity-wise. I've worked with them, especially on the media side. And if we're not going to do something about the Gen Z, it's going to be a problem in Kenya. And I'm going to talk about what might happen if we stop. And that is one of the main motivation, whoever gets elected, or even now who's in Kenya, should be, how do I settle the issue of Gen Z unemployment and opportunity in Kenya? It's the economy, they say, stupid. In America, they used to say it's the economy, stupid. How do you deal with the issue of Gen Z, especially when it comes to opportunities? There's so many ideas out there that you can help the Gen Z. So many ideas. But you don't want people with ideas. You see them as a threat. So you keep the status quo. You yourself get elected and you're not even qualified to be an MCA, qualified to be an MP, qualified to be a vice president or a president. How do you feel about getting a dictator for 5 years? Someone that will force order, behavioral changes. You don't need a dictator. You need somebody that can inspire people. You don't need a dictator, to be honest with you. You need someone that leads by example, who is corruption-free. You need someone who's corruption-free, someone who's not a tribalist. You need someone that does things by action. You need someone that mourns with the nation when they are mourning. You need someone that can tell and inspire people, sitting by a fireside and talking to Kenyans every evening and telling them things are going to be okay. That's what you need. You don't need a dictator. I do not believe in the idea of a dictator because I hate. I'm a very. I abhor the idea of someone telling me what to do and what to think. I don't like it. And so the idea of having a dictator is just a non-starter. I say no. You just need someone that can really care about people, that is really fighting corruption, like really fighting corruption. Through the ways, this constitution, the way it is, you can fight corruption. You don't need a dictator. You can put people in jail for breaking the law, and you don't care about losing friends. You should not care about losing friends. You see, one thing I like about Kibaki, one guy that I like, is Kibaki was cutting his friends off when he felt like it's the right thing to do. He did that a few times. And so you need a leader that can cut off his friends if they are corrupt. If himself is not corrupt, he can just do away with his friend. You need a president that can put his friend, the best friend, the guy closest to him, if he's corrupt, in jail. BJ says, how will they clean up all the mess from independence? You might not like my answer. I told you that before. Kenya needs to be reconstituted again, just from the ground up, like everything, just the whole structure of governance, just everything just needs to start fresh. We just need to have this big conference and say this. I mean, I know we have a constitution, which is okay. It's good. This constitution is good. We can use it for good. If we stop letting people break the law and getting away with it, it's a good constitution. If we use it to fight corruption, it's a good constitution. If we have elect people on merits, it's a good constitution. If we have give people freedom to express themselves, it's a good constitution. Everything is there. The tool is there. It's just that people are not, we are letting governors go free, committing corruption, stealing money. We are letting people, see, that's the thing, you're creating these offices like DPP and all this they're not doing what they need to do. This investigation, the structure is there because now you're kind of like, again, you have elected somebody that didn't really like this constitution. Like, how do you elect someone who they never wanted this constitution? How do you elect him to be president? That's another thing too. That's why we're here. Remember my topic when I say, why are we here? We're here because we elected somebody that was really against this constitution. He really didn't want this constitution, to be honest with you. That's the reality. I'm not just making this up. So you want to elect someone that wants this constitution? He's not corrupt. So respect rule of law, swears by the constitution, and do things by the constitution. That's what you need to be president. I keep looking to the side because I have the comment box on my left side. So that's why I'm keep looking. We have about 8 minutes before we end our show tonight. We're going to be continuing on the Gen Z. I hope all of you can join me again tomorrow about this time. So we started around 10. So mark your time right now so you know what time it is. I'm going to be on here talking about what we can do. And I'm going to give you guys a background of why and examples of countries that did not address the issue of Gen Z. And now they are failed states. So that should be a clue to you. We're going to have that conversation tomorrow. BGA. Guys, follow BGA. Great. Amazing questions. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate people on my show. I recognize participants in my show. And I do throughout my, I fully agree. But I feel it will take time. Good conversation. Thanks for your time. You're welcome, BGA. Anytime. You too. Asante sana. My brothers and sisters, it's been great having this conversation without fear or favor. Let's continue talking. Let's continue sharing ideas on how we can improve. Let's get along. And please, I ask you, do not conflate the issue of Kenyan Somalis and the Gen Z. There's totally two different things. Stop talking about Somali oligarchy. To start talking about Somali success in Kenya. Stop talking about hating that community. Stop talking about, every opportunity they get. Stop picking on one community, man. Stop it. Kenyans live everywhere. Stick to what is the fight is about, and that is Gen Z, and just making sure that we collectively, all of us, have a great future. It's a beautiful country, man. It's an amazing country. There's so much potential. Let's not just fuck it up, man, for real. And these talking heads that just keep attacking this community, and specifically just one community or the position that they hold, or the government position that they hold, and you keep going at it, cut it out. What is wrong is wrong. Two wrongs don't make right. But what is wrong also, we'll point it out. When we feel it's wrong, it's wrong. Abduction is wrong. Killing is wrong. Gen Z issues are right and should be addressed. And people should be allowed to protest and express themselves peacefully without getting shot, beat. That is the reality. I am for that. But don't mix the two with Kenyan Somali issue. It's a different issue. Don't mix that with what's really what you want, because now you're confusing people. You're confusing the whole country because people now don't know. Now you're going to hate on Kenyan Somalis, or we're going to talk about the Gen Z issue? You're mixing the two, man. Separate the two. And I agree with President William Ruto 100% about the ID thing. It's a colonial legacy. Let's do it away with all Kenyans. Everybody should The only thing that we can be can be used for identity, if you have access to it, everybody should have access to that, but it shouldn't be used as a tool for oppression, to oppress a community. So hii mambo ya ID na kipande, trying to oppress the Kenyan Somalis and Muslims, let's do that away. Got it. Should be happy for Kenyan Somalis. Man, we've been through 55 years of operation through this system. And this is the same system the British have used against the Kikuyus and other Africans. So why will you want it on us? Why are you not happy for us? President William Ruto said we're no longer going to do it. What's your problem? Why should that have been an issue? Why you should use that? You want to beat President William Ruto in an election, wait 2027, go beat him. Go win it. Organize yourselves. Stop focusing on what the President William Ruto is doing for Somalis in Kenya and Muslims. Why are you focused on that? You need to organize elections. If you want to remove William Ruto, organize. That should be your focus. With that said, asanteni sana. Mungu awabariki, as Moi used to say. Watu wakae kwa amani, umoja, upendo, uhuru. Asanteni. Hakeem, who do you think is formidable against Ruto? I cannot answer any more questions, brother. I've been here on this show for 1 hour. Thank you for coming late. Join me tomorrow. Hopefully I can answer that question. But for now, I have to sign out. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki. Love yourself, love your country, and your countrymen, regardless of where they come from. Let's work together on changing Kenyans. Don't be jealous on your neighbors. Support them.